Good morning. How is everyone this morning? It is a fine morning, isn't it? I can't remember my goddamn clip. Oh, here we go. Greetings and good morning to everyone. Thank you for my gift. It's not a boulder. Ooh, it's got a goat on it. That's fancy. Are you going to read? somebody said for what's it for our members, and I might do this. Do live streams where I just read my own book in the low timber voice. Of course, it's hard to keep up for a while. Thank you, Pumpkin Slayer. I appreciate you. Thank you for contributing $2 to the future chicken factory of the Chesapeake, regenerative chicken factory of the Chesapeake Fund, as well as P-Term 4767 for doing the exact same. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This isn't Ask Me Anything. I will, like, the comments go by fast, and I'm reading at the same time. I have a thing where I force myself to read 30 to 40 pages of books every day. And so I'm trying to get that in now because I'm going to be busy as hell later. So I will try to answer some questions from the general chat, but super chats guaranteed to be answered. Because again, we are fundraising the very large amount of money that we need for our chicken factory and trying to do it without having to bring in outside investors who are going to ask us to do shit that I don't want to do. Pumpkin Slayer lives in the Chesapeake. Hell yeah. Where in the Chesapeake are you? Chesapeake's a mighty big place. Thank you, Drelo. How was my 4th of July? I spent it reading, my reading for the day, for that day, was W.E.B. Du Bois's Souls of Black Folk. And what I had a big ass tomahawk, and I wound up not getting sushi because I didn't want to go downtown. It was too damn hot. So yeah, I had some of my own chicken fried tomahawk. I just ate meat. I'm probably gonna have gout, but it's worth it. I appreciate everybody that sent St. Michael's. I'm jealous. St. Michael's is nice. Somebody sent an eagle for 400 joules. Somebody sent flow state for 200 joules. Somebody else sent flow state for 200 joules. And somebody sent clutch for 30 joules. So I appreciate the 4 of y'all that have donated to our chicken processing factory. Run back to the live. Somebody said, disagree with your earlier video about wokeness. The definition today is different than yours. I get that a lot. So if anybody didn't see it yesterday, there was somebody that asked, do woke people celebrate the 4th of July? Do they barbecue or do they boycott? And, I use the definition of what woke means, which is what the actual definition is, which is what it's meant since Marcus Garvey had his call to awakening in like the 1920s, 30s, 40s. I forget, long friggin' time ago, like damn near 100 years ago. And what I tell everybody is that I don't care if it was 2019, 1964, 1949, 1919, 1890, 1865, 1859, 1843, 1812, 1779, 1783, actually, kind of maybe more important. Like every time one of those watershed events happened in American history where the rights or whatever of marginalized people were on the line, whether it's being granted the right to vote, granted the right to own businesses or own property, the Civil Rights Act, various iterations of the Civil Rights Act, all that stuff. Whoever was advocating for that thing was considered, what people will say is woke now, which is people who hate America, hate the fiber of America, isn't, things are okay, we got some problems, but stop agitating, blah blah blah. Like that, the adjectives, the un-American, you hate America, like those words have been applied to people. Like those words that are applied to wokeness now were applied to Martin Luther King. They were applied to Frederick Douglass. They were applied to Ida B. Wells. Like all the people who have ever gotten rights for marginalized people were called un-American, pinko, commie, you hate everything. Like they were always called that in their time. And then 30 years later, everybody pretends they were for it the whole time, right? Like Martin Luther King was despised in his time. Half the country, like Gallup polled this over and over again, half the country opposed the civil rights movement. Not only the protests themselves, but the actual law. So, at the time, half the country hated it, but now there's a monument to Martin Luther King on the National Mall. And everybody pretends like that's what we always wanted, even though people were talking about Martin Luther King the same way they're talking about woke people now. And that history just repeats itself over and over and over again. So when people say that my definition is different, no, my definition is the same, as the people who were doing the work. It's always been for us. And your definition of woke people being these like un-American agitators who like can't appreciate anything about America, like that's the same. Like it's all the same. So, what else did I say about that? Anyway, let me answer a couple of the questions down here. I wanted to answer that one because like I got 8,000 comments and not all from poorly intended people. Like what you think of as woke now, like, and by you I mean people who are more right of center. The definition of woke that you use is spoon fed to you by internet media that is designed to profit from you being pissed off all the time. They need you to be mad. They want you to be mad because it's easy to monetize anger. Like if I made this channel purely political and partisan, where I just went like full lefty or something, or like did a Candace Owens and pretended to be like the token black guy on the right or whatever, I'd have like 4 or 5 million followers by now. Like I'd be at Hodge Twins level by now. But I'm a fucking chicken farmer, so no. Anyway, let's check out these here super chats. Do you plant any of your own crops for feed? Titus Mech asks. No, right now we don't. We do eventually want to do that, because we live in an area we're in Virginia, a high rainfall state where that's actually possible. Sorry, I can't stop playing with my mustache. I have like a nervous tick. So no, we're not doing it right now. Like crops and like animal feed formulations and things like that. That's a complicated business. That's not something like you can do on the side. So once we get to a level of scale where we could like basically develop an animal feed business, then we'll probably start diving into that. But I don't see that happening in the next 3 years at least. Thoughts or plans to expand delivery to other states like Texas? Yes, probably within the next 2 years. So we're going to start with like our immediate area. So we're first going to expand to like Delaware, New Jersey, New York, probably North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and then once we've covered like our immediate backyard, then we're going to look at probably hitting the bigger states first, probably like one big state at a time. So we might do like Florida first, and then we'll like go closer. So like maybe Florida, and maybe Ohio, or like Michigan, or like I forget which of those states is closer to Virginia. I don't have a map in my head. And then eventually like big states like California, New Mexico, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's at some point. But we got to do it slow enough where we're still doing everything on the grass. We're still doing everything the way we do it. We don't want to take the Vital Farms road where we're like we become just a glorified free range so that we can go national. Any plans to deliver to Hampton? Yes. We were supposed to do that this year, but something came up. We kind of blew up on social media, and pet treats, which are our most profitable item, really blew up. And I talked about this in the Patreon newsletter. Like that created like a profit opportunity where we would be able to fund a lot of our own growth instead of having to bring in investors. With investors, like I don't hate investors, but it's hard to pick investors who aren't going to try to 10x their returns in kind of a nature and ecology and people-based business where your returns are going to be more like 3x, 4x, 5x, and it might take 10 years, 15 years. Those investors are hard to find. And the more we could just fund ourselves through our own profits, things got better. So we kind of had to put Hampton Roads, the whole Tidewater area, like the 7 cities, had to put that on the back burner. While we kind of doubled down on getting pet treats so we could get more money in our war chest so that we could fund our own expansion without having to bring in outsiders. But hopefully next year will be like we ship meat down there now. Pet treats go there now. Everything but eggs basically goes to the Tidewater. But hopefully next year we'll be able to deliver eggs down into that area with our own trucks. What else we go here? Pumpkin Slayer asks, what is it now? What it is now is we have a delicious Padron 3000. I usually prefer the 5000. And this is a Maduro. I usually prefer the natural because the Maduro is a little dark, a little stronger than I usually like. Somebody kind of uncle alert. God damn. Yeah, I'm old. I got gray in my beard. I got a favorite. People call me Papa Shirt. Yeah, I guess I've entered territory. That's cool. I got a cafecito here, Cuban coffee. Wake your ass up. So that's what it is now. Lenny Dots asks, shit. Oh, there we go. Shit. Hold on. Have you heard of the glue-on chicken anti-aggression glasses? No. Somebody send me a link to whatever the hell that is. That's crazy. Anti-aggression glasses. I got an anti-aggression knife. I got a anti-aggression fry bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I got an aggressive chicken, I don't know if I'm investing in your attitude adjustment. Like, it's time for the pot, motherfucker. Like, sorry. But no, so somebody let me know what that is because that sounds hilarious. All right, next, Elizabeth Zettelmoya asks, business question. You buy in Pennsylvania, why not sell up here in Philly? Yes, so we buy our chicks in Pennsylvania. It's nowhere near Philly. But it's like in the central part of the state. Pennsylvania's a big friggin' state. So the main reason we're not offering like nationwide shipping right now is because we are what's the best way to explain this? Like the book that I'm reading now, this shit, which is endorsed by that guy. Again, I read things a lot that I don't necessarily agree with because you want to know everything in detail. If there's ideas I don't like, systems of agriculture I don't like, politics I don't like, political systems I don't like, I don't necessarily agree with. I don't want my information about those to come from the internet and memes and be filtered through people's bullshit and agendas or whatever. Like I want to hear what they have to say in their own words. So stuff that's advocated in books like that, like this hyper local agriculture, where basically your average person is back on a farm like it's fucking 1840 or something, is not something I particularly agree with. However, I do believe that global commodity agriculture is a problem generally, for the environment, for global poverty, for a lot of reasons. But there's also a lot of there's a lot of ocean between a Thomas Jefferson wet dream of every Yaleman on their 10 acres of plowshares and global agriculture where where everybody's exporting cereal grains or rice and using fossil fuel based fertilizers and shit like that. There's a lot of water in between, and part of that in between is my business's mission, which is to be kind of a regional agricultural entity that does some long distance trade. Because the thing is, people, for example, people live in low rainfall areas. People live in places where, fig trees don't get that big on accident, right? So places like ours that have high fertility, extremely well drained soils, the climate for growing lots of different stuff. I think there is some, not even some, like there's a fair degree of obligation to engage in trade, to make sure that people are well fed. So while our primary mission is to be rooted in the place where we are, we have no problem like expanding out to like Pennsylvania, New York, blah blah blah. Problem is though, if we started offering stuff to Pennsylvania and New York right now, we'd be sold out. Everything would be gone, and all the people who've been my customers in Virginia and in DC and in Maryland for years and years and years suddenly can't get our shit, and that ain't right. I'm a built for monogamy kind of guy, and it's like I'm always going to take care of the people that brought us to where we are first, and then when capacity allows, I'll take care of everybody else. So we will be in Pennsylvania, but not yet. Not yet. Where's my goddamn ashtray? My kids use my ashtray for arts and crafts projects. See what happens with kids? You can't have nothing. Anyway, let's see. Do you consider the Bible false or appropriated? It's an interesting question. Depends on a version of the Bible. Like, if you're talking about like Coptic Orthodox type people, I assume that theirs is closer to the original gospel and all that good shit. When you start to get to the Protestant translations of the Bible, especially those that were used to justify colonialism and mass dispossession and genocide and all that other stuff, yeah, I'd call that a little bit of a nope. You know what I mean? And by the same token, I call it appropriated. So yeah, I mean, it depends, right? If you ever go to like an Ethiopian Orthodox church service, I mean, it feels like a Muslim call to prayer. Like, it looks more like Islam than Christianity, or what we think of as, in the United States as Christianity, and sure as hell like Catholicism. So I don't know, dude. Like, Christian has more freaking flavors than Baskin Robbins. It depends on what you're talking about. Let's see. Any plans in the future to expand shipping nationwide? Yeah, talk about that one. Talk about that one. We Are Midnight. Let me know if you want me to talk about that anymore. Love from Hampton Roads. The cigar is a Padron. This Padron 3000. I usually prefer a 5000, but this is a 3000. Let's see what we got. We have Hallo from Germany, Deutschland. Thoughts on the uprush in popularity? It's strange. It's strange being recognized in public all the time. That's like the like I don't mind. Like, a lot of people like, I want to be rich but never be famous. Like, I don't, and I'm not like calling myself famous. Like, I'm not like Kobe trying to go to freaking Disneyland or something like that. But yeah, it's wild going to Busch Gardens and being recognized by like 20 damn people. But at the same time, like, everybody's always friendly. They're always nice. I'm an outgoing guy. I like to talk to people. I'm not. I think a lot of people that get into farming, they do it because they're like, I don't like people. I like animals. Blah blah blah. Like, I fucking love people and all their complexity and bullshit, but also their love and beauty. Like, there's like there's so much there. So I very much enjoy people, so it's been great for me personally. From a business standpoint, it's been revolutionary. Um, because again, the sudden windfall of social media, not only the direct money from social media, but the additional businesses generated, has completely changed the way we're thinking about capitalizing our business. Like our business had, when we were looking at having to bring in investors to grow, and a lot of the reason, like we have a reason we want to grow. We're not trying to grow for growth's sake. There's a certain size we have to get to pay our people like a minimum wage of 30 to, I think right now it's like 32 an hour that we're targeting, 32 with benefits. Um, in order to be able to maintain that kind of wage and not cannibalize the business, you have to be a certain size. You don't have to be a full national outfit. You don't have to be gigantic. But to get to that point where we're able to pay people that much and start it, like, basically level off our prices and let inflation kind of catch up and kind of lower the price that way. uh, we have to be somewhere around probably 12 to 15 million a year revenue. um so so to be able to grow that much, there's a lot of money you have to raise for equipment, for buildings, for, you have to overstaff for a while. So you have to pay people more than the revenue that's necessarily coming in that can cover them. Like you have to have a burn rate, kind of like a goddamn tech company. um so the nice thing is that with the social media money and the increased pet treat sales and all the margin that comes from that, we don't have to court investors nearly as much. Like right now, we don't have to court them at all. Like we should be able to get through our quarter three and quarter four of 2026 capex raise exclusively through basically me loaning the money back that we make through social media back to our company at like the lowest rate the IRS will let us loan it to without incurring a tax penalty. And I talked on Patreon about why I'm doing it that way instead of the money going straight to Blackbird. There's a couple of actually very good reasons to do that. Um, but yeah, it's life changing. Um, it's business changing, it's trajectory changing, and it's fantastic. Um, Almost no downside. Again, like some people would not like being recognized in public. And like I was going to dinner with I was going to one of my wife's friends' birthday parties or whatever, in Northern Virginia. and, and somebody like in this big body Benz, like this SL 550 or whatever, like almost came to a screeching halt. And this dude like stuck his head out the window. It was like, what is it now? And like that'll like startle you a little bit, but it's like the dude was cool. And like, you know, I fucking love you guys. Anyway, what is your favorite way to brine chicken? Do you have a recipe? My wife always brines our chicken. I cook it. She usually brines it. It's a simple brine. She does it's a standard salt, bay leaf, clove, star anise, um, olive oil. I'm missing something important. Shit, there's one other thing, and she's all the way downstairs. I'll holler at her when she comes back up here and see what else she puts in it. But yeah, we put that in a brine. We usually let it brine for at least 8 hours. Make sure it gets cool. The brine gets cool before you add your chicken to it. Um, like even room temperature is too hot. Like you want it cool. You want to cool it down with ice. Like when I like the few times I make a brine, I'll have it a little bit over concentrated. Then when I pull it off the stove, I'll throw like a tray of ice cubes in it to bring it down to where I want, and that gives you the concentration and the temperature that you want. But beyond that, the most important thing for really cooking any meat is to get the temperature down, or to keep the temperature up rather, to like just about room temperature. Um, like if you take, I don't care what it is, you can take a steak, you can take chicken that you've had in buttermilk or you've had in a brine or whatever, and you try to fry it. The temperature has so far to go, you're going to wind up burning it. And that's kind of a key mistake a lot of people make, especially when cooking premium meats. And finding themselves unsatisfied is that they wind up having to cook it too long because they don't let it warm up on the table. So like, yeah, I'll have my stuff in the fridge in a brine for 8 hours. I'll pull it out, and I'll let it sit for about an hour uncovered, and then I'll cover it with something just to make sure. I mean, I got pets and shit. It's all covered up on the counter. Let it sit for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours. Let it get damn near warm before I start cooking it. And I do that with everything. Do it with steaks. Do it with chicken. I do it with everything but seafood. Seafood's a little, but land meat. That is the way I do it. When are we going to the Dominican Republic? I wish. Might be going to Jamaica in the winter though. But that's a big maybe. Depends on what's going on with the business. Everything depends on the freaking business. Let's see. Joel Williams asks, what cigar are you smoking? I work for Oscar Valladares Tobacco, known for Leaf by Oscar Superfly and others, and their regional sales manager. Would love to send you some samples. Hell yeah, brother. Padron is my go-to. I've got like, I think I've got 35 cigars in my humidor. All but 2 are Padrones. The other 2 are a pair of Cuban Cohibas that my sister-in-law, who's an army captain, was stationed in Guantanamo for a little bit, brought back from Cuba, which we are now conveniently starving to death because this fucking country. Anyway, hell yeah. Send away. Let's see. Do I grow my own vegetables and fruits? Not this year. I'd wanted to grow a garden, but the time just never materialized. I will not accept hot dog and ramen slander. Look, I ain't mad at it. There was just a lot of hot dogs, and admittedly, I am triggered by by giant woks and large amounts of oil on the internet. It was all good until they fed it to the pigs, dude. Like what? Like what the hell, man? Anything for the internet. DJ Rules, thanks for the fresh perspective. Love from Knoxville. Thank you. Appreciate you. Let's see. What did I miss? Jesus. Hold. There's a lot more super chats than I thought there'd be. Again, thank you everybody for your support, because this chicken factory we want to build is expensive. Can't wait for you to get to Ohio. We will get to Ohio. I promise. It might take 3 years, but we will get to Ohio. Danny Williams, good morning. Good morning to you. Dr. Real Finance. Hey, I'm from Ohio, but I'll be in the DMV next month. Want to know if the wife and I can come to the farm to purchase eggs and chicken. You can come to our shop. The farm is kind of closed because we're still freaking worried about bird flu and biosecurity. Like, that's the big reason we're not offering tours and all that good shit right now. Yeah, our shop is at 3706 Kings Highway, Colonial Beach, Virginia. We are open Tuesday through Friday, 8 to 4. Full disclosure, I'm usually not there. Mason, like, basically that's Mason's playhouse. So I'm usually not there. Dan's usually not there. Brian's never there. But the most interesting people in the crew are there. And I'm there sometimes, just not a lot. See, ATX does ask thoughts on the screwworm coming back up. Do they mess with chickens? No, that is mostly a cattle issue. Screwworm has been eradicated before. It can be eradicated again. The solution they had last time, which was to basically breed a bunch of sterile males and unleash them on the the screwworm population, was extremely effective last time. There's no reason it shouldn't be effective again. So it sucks, it's just one more thing that's driving up the price of cattle, or the plausible excuse to drive up the price of cattle. There was some, I don't know, there was a video I did on beef a while ago where somebody was getting my shit about not charging the highest price that I possibly could. And dude was like, I forget what he said, like he moves like 50,000 pounds of beef a month, and it's bad business not to charge every single dime you can get. And I'm like, my business is doing very well. I'm becoming a decently wealthy man by not fucking people. So I'm going to go to sleep at night knowing that people don't fucking hate my ass and that I'm not making basic food unaffordable for people. For what? Like, I have everything and so much of it. So why be a dick? Anyway, so yeah, like, you know, screwworm, drought. You know, the U.S. cattle herd is the size it was in the 50s now. Like, it's the lowest it's been in like 75 years. Like, there's a lot driving up the cost of beef, and there's no. Come into here. What do you put in your chicken brine?
What I put in yesterday?
Yesterday. That's my wife, the bog witch.
Hi. I'm feeling very bog witchy today.
You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I'd tear that up. Wait, where you going? They need to know what's in the brine.
I'm coming. I just want my coffee.
Oh.
Yesterday I put water, salt, chicken, or pickle juice.
Oh, pickle juice. That's what you put in it.
Yeah.
You don't put olive oil in it.
In the brine?
I put olive oil in mine. I thought you put olive oil in yours.
No.
Why you look at me so curiously?
It's
delicious.
I've never heard of oil in the brine.
That is the brine that made you fall in love with me. Actually, that was lamb chops. But still, it was lamb chops that made her fall in love with me. Is that iced?
It is.
You're just having yourself a white girl Sunday, aren't you?
I am. Well, I came out to tell you that I do not feel invigorated and energized by my run.
By your 8-mile run in the Virginia humidity.
Worn out.
I'll bet.
And sore. I might take a nap after I finish.
The trouble you see.
You got a lot of colors up there.
I was going to make a racist joke, but you're not Mason, so it's less funny. Yeah, there are a lot of colors in my comment section. But
screwworm. What is screwworm?
You know what screwworm is?
No.
It's a screwworm that burrows into the flesh of cattle, driving up the price of every damn thing.
Is that than those bot flies that I see videos of?
Oh yeah. Yeah, bot flies, that's real nasty.
It's gross, but that's not around here, right? That's like in warmer climates.
Bot flies, I think, are around here.
Oh, disgusting.
Yeah, you should be afraid. You should be very afraid. Anyway, well, you go ahead and have your nap.
Okay, I will. I just wanted to let you know what I was doing.
You don't have to let me know what you're doing. It's a 1950s household. You gotta report your whereabouts, no matter what's happening.
If it who's
like,
me, so
honey, baby dear, may I please lay down and take a nap? You have my permission. That's crazy as hell.
No, I tell you so you don't bust in the house going, what the fuck's up? Which I feel like you could.
Now I might do it anyway, just because you mentioned it.
You're missing all your people.
Oh, fine.
And they paid such good money to talk to you. I can talk to you anytime.
Oh, yeah? I'll make you pay to talk to me. Anyway, well, yes, that is my lovely lady who tolerates me and eats peppered watermelon.
This is watermelon with tagine.
Watermelon with tagine on it because she bougie as hell, and her iced coffee. Anyway, let's see what's next. And no, they do not mess with the chickens. Pumpkin Slayer, do we have a good fried chicken recipe? The fried chicken recipe I use is to brine it as her just said. Bring it out of your refrigerator, let it get up to about 60 degrees.
White vinegar. That was the thing I forgot. I put
white vinegar. Okay, she puts white vinegar in as well. Pull it out, let it get kind of warm, put it in buttermilk. I put a little bit of hot sauce in the buttermilk, let it sit in the buttermilk dredge for like 15 minutes. Let it soak in real nice. Then I pull it out, giggity, and then I use House Autry seasoning. With
House Autry
breading seasoning, breading. Yeah, breading. House Autry, you can get at Walmart. If I run out of the chicken season, I use the seafood seasoning. She don't like it. She says it's too salty, but she's white, so don't listen to what she said.
I like the chicken seasoning better. I think the seafood seasoning is specifically the too salty one.
Is that right? I've been using the seafood one the whole time.
Oh, well, maybe.
Your taste buds are becoming whiter with every passing week. Anyway, she's required by law to tolerate me. So you put it in there, I put a little cornmeal and extra paprika in with the house autry because I don't think there's enough of either. I like the extra crunch of the extra cornmeal.
I should have done that last time.
Yours was plenty crunchy. And then you put it in a bag. You put it in a bag and you shake it. You give it a good shake, like an ornery chicken or a cat. And then you
Make sure your oil's hot.
then make sure our oil's nice and hot. I use like a deep cast iron skillet because I almost like to kind of deep fry it, not like pan fry like my grandmama used to. That's the only thing I changed from my grandmama's recipe. Make sure that oil's about at least 325 degrees. Put it on when you put it in. I usually have the heat at around like 8 out of 10. As soon as I put it in, I drop it down to about 5, maybe even a little bit less, so it doesn't cook too quick. And then pull it out at 165. Use a thermometer. A thermometer.
I've started using the thermometer.
She's the first of thermometers. That's how they got the plague. It's like spices. They invented certain technology and then they refused to use it.
Hey, look, I got an eagle.
She's right there.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too.
Mm-hmm. Have a lovely nap.
I will. I will try to.
Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, that is my fried chicken recipe. For someone who's coming into money looking to invest, would you suggest farming chickens, etc., or go another route? It depends on what your goals are. For farming, you're going to have to spend a lot of money. You are better off if you're just looking to invest. Throw that shit into ETFs, preferably non-US ETFs right now. Because what your boy Elon just did to the NASDAQ and by extension to the S&P 500 is terrifying. It made me sell it. I liquidated all my positions in US stocks after that freaking clown show happened. Farming is very difficult to return an investment on. Like just agribusiness in general, very difficult. It's very capital intensive, very, very technical. And you're doing all this just to jump into a commodities market, what's effectively a commodities market, where you're competing with some of the largest corporations on the planet. And developing an alpha, like a key market distinction, is difficult. I've done it. And I don't think it's hard to do just because I'm so special and I'm so smart. With me, it was more like a lightning in a bottle kind of thing. I got in at the right place at the right time with the right background. There were a lot of circumstances that made it possible for my work ethic to matter in this business. So if you're just coming into money and looking to I've had family members who come into money suddenly, and the first thing they're tempted to do is something wacky with it. I tell people, get conservative. If you're feeling spend happy, and you just need to calm down and get the money away from yourself, throw that shit in a CD, throw it in treasuries, throw it something that's relatively difficult to liquidate and gives you time to calm down before you start jumping into stuff like this. Because the failure rate where I am, I mean, you're probably going to lose all your money. So no. Somebody else asked, Mr. Farmer, do you do sponsorships on your channel? Trinidad is the queen of cigars. I've never had a Trinidadian cigar. I don't think ever. No, I've never done sponsorship. I don't want my channel to become like an ad space, basically. Like, there's a reason, like, there's like a running joke at the end of my videos, all goes www. I never finish. And that's because, admittedly, every single video I do is an ad for my own business, and I'm fine with that. But like, I don't know, like having other brands come in and then I've been made some like sponsorship offers and collabs and other stuff like that. I ain't about that life really. But I appreciate you. But for now, I don't think so. Conkus Recall Dyke Ops 1 says pet treats have been fantastic. Got a chronically ill pack of rescue dogs that burn through them chicken feets and liver brownies. Keep them coming. Hell yeah. We just picked up another big batch from Brian yesterday. They might be sold out already. We're trying to make pet treats as fast as we freaking can. There's a couple other, what's kind of nice about pet treats, we make them out of our livers, feet, chicken backs, frames, tails, stuff like that. And there's a lot of farmers that are around us that are a lot smaller, uh, that have a hard time moving that stuff. Like people, people say all day long, "I want the gizzards, I want the feet, I want the livers," but they want to pay like nothing for it because not that many people eat it. So a lot of times, farmers just wind up chucking it because, in a lot of ways, liver is more valuable as pasture compost than it is as a saleable product at like $3 a pound. Um, so like nothing ever gets like thrown away, like it just gets recycled in a pasture facility or whatever. But for us, a nice thing we've been able to do for some farmers where like I've seen their operations, I know they're doing things the way we do, but they're a lot smaller than us, so they're not necessarily competing with us. Is like, dude, give us all your feet, give us all your livers. Like that stuff doesn't have to go to waste, and we'll pay you a premium for it. We'll pay you, $4 or $5 a pound for it, and just give it to us, and we'll turn it to something where we'll make money. You make money, everybody's happy. So we should be having a lot more of that stuff coming out. Again, it was a surprise that the demand blew up the way it did, and it takes a while to like. We've had to buy dehydrators, ovens, expand our kitchen space. We've had to hire like 3 guys. It's like turning around an oil tanker. So there will be more, and it will be more plentiful. Thank you so much, and appreciate everybody's patience. Nerdwitch says, excuse me, I've just recently discovered you and love your content. Thank you. Also, can you say from whence you obtained your trans right shirt that says you'll have to go through me? I must have one. That came from Stevie B's, and I'm forgetting their website. Shit. I'll do a video where I put out. They sent it to me. Stevie sent that shirt and several others to me and to Mason and I. Mason wears them all the time. I wear them all the time. We mostly wear them to the gym. But yeah, they are. I believe they're selling them. They also send them to like a lot of, I guess, the high follower count people who aren't bullies to trans people. To it's important to like have that out there. But yeah, Stevie B's. I'm forgetting the name of the website though. I'll find that and post that up somewhere. Ever heard of PFAS? Is that like microplastics thing? Yeah, I'm probably half plastic right now. It's fine. I'm still tall. Let's see. Thank you. Your mom's something. I can't a gamer. I have no idea what that is. Thank you for my corgi, Austin Reeves. AJM041378 asks question. You are a sharp, educated farmer. Thank you. I'm not nearly as dumb as everybody says I am. Do you feel farmers get a bad rap when it comes to intelligence? Are you the norm or the outlier? I am not nearly as smart as anybody thinks I am. I just read a lot. But I appreciate the sentiment anyway. Farmers in the United States tend to be on the wealthier side. They tend to be college educated. They tend to have had money in their family for some time. Farmers also, however, hold on. In my experience, farmers like to play up the like, oh shucks, I'm just a hayseed right in flyover country and nobody understands us. Like they play that shit up because it gets the farm bill passed. It secures agricultural subsidies. Like I talk about this in my book a lot. There's like a lot of ink spilled on this topic in my book. Farmers enjoy an incredible welfare state, much like most business owners who get past a certain level. Like you start a business, you're a startup, you're like you're hand to mouth, you're getting your ass kicked or whatever. But once you get to a certain point, which is the point that my business has kind of recently arrived at, everything about the country's political and economic apparatus is built to advantage you at every turn. And that is true of most sectors of the farm economy, with the one exception maybe being dairy. I think it's a miracle that anybody's still producing dairy in the United States. So like if you're going to feel sorry for anybody, feel sorry for the U.S. dairy farmer. Everybody else is basically living with socialism, like no shit fucking socialism. Um, and again, like they play up like we're dumb, we're poor, we're blah blah blah, and like people don't know what they're looking at. Like I'll never get. There was one. There was something I was looking at on the Farmers Business Network where there was a pair of farmers being interviewed in their barn, talking about how cash strapped they were with. I mean, I shit you not, a $90,000 John Deere pull tractor, brand new friggin' $90,000 John Deere pull tractor, just sitting right behind them. It's like very few farms need that kind of equipment. Like even broadacre row crop doesn't need equipment that new, that big, that shiny. But there's a dick measuring contest among farmers where it's like, the whole thing where a lot of these guys need these dually tonners and like, they're shiny and they're new and they've clearly never done any farm work like that. That kind of penis measuring like extends over into the field. So like, yeah, you're buying a planter that probably has more rows than you need. You're buying hydraulic systems that you don't necessarily need. You're like, um, and so a lot of them are in trouble because of their own egos. A lot of them are in trouble because of the way they vote, especially in the last 12 years. And but no, like farmers, especially the ones that are still left, like the ones that have survived the Green Revolution and like all these trade wars and all this other shit. They're very savvy people. They're very smart. They know exactly what they're doing for the most part. Again, there's always outliers, but no, farmers are not dummies. And I think a lot of them are a hell of a lot smarter than I am. Let's see. Have you ever been to the Iowa State Fair? No. The closest I've been to the Midwest is Illinois, and I went to Chicago to visit my buddy when he was in medical school. That is it. No, I'm scared to death of Iowa, honestly. I hear it's a beautiful state, though. Let's see. Football and 930 asks, hey, man, I do automation by trade. Any plans for automation or computer controls in your production anytime soon? Yes. So the next evolution of poultry processing equipment we buy, a lot of that is going to be automated. A lot of our egg processing is going to be automated. This is a big part of what, and this is one of the more controversial things we're doing. Like part of the way we're going to pay such high wages is by having a smaller workforce, and automating away a lot of the stuff that frankly is really hard on people's bodies. We could have an operation where we eventually had like, 80 to 100 employees where the average wage was like, I mean, not average, but like the bottom wage was like maybe 18 or 19 an hour or 20 an hour, but that would be in like 5 years, and that buys a lot less. But those will be jobs where like you are going to get carpal tunnel, you are going to get injured, you are going to cut a finger off, you're going like and this is like a key ethical question that you kind of have to ask yourself when you talk about productivity and wages and work is, and this is why like I tend to, even though I'm a business owner, like a pretty hardcore business owner, I tend to lean left on like economic welfare issues, because it's like I don't believe in the idea that people should have to beat the hell out of themselves just to be able to live. There are some jobs that are so brutal, that are so hard on the body, that literally limit your lifespan, that they should be done by machines. And the people who operate them and the human workforce that's left should share in the majority of the productivity gains that come from that. And that's why people call me a pinko and a communist or whatever the fuck. I'm just trying not to be a fucking asshole. So, and have a society that doesn't want to hang me. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of automation. I'm going to automate any position that I can, that I think is going to make people have like long-term health issues, long-term physical issues, stuff like that. Because I think over the long term, shit like that is inhumane. And there's a big human toll that goes into producing meat at scale that you'd think vegans would talk more about, but they always just talk about the animals, right? Let's see, what I miss. PFAS, education, Iowa State Fair, automation. What do you think about? Amanda Troutman asks, what do you think about meat rabbit farming? I've never done it. I haven't researched that much about it. I think meat rabbits are like a great homestead crop. You know, if we're going to refer to livestock as crops, they're great for homesteads. They're lower impact. Their manure is a little more available in some cases, like slightly less nitrogenous, less prone to burning things out. Rabbits are a little more forgiving than meat chickens in particular. Processing is a little more brutal. You kind of got to knock them unconscious before you cut their carotid and jugular and watch them bleed out. Like watching rabbits get slaughtered is something. But if you can stomach that shit, go for it. In terms of doing like market cropping with it, like doing what I do, I wouldn't do it just because the market's not big enough. It's not worth it. There's just way too much marginal gain to be gotten for us, like in doing more chicken. Like that's why we're so focused on poultry. It's like I could get into meat rabbits and throw like 50 grand at doing like a legit like meat rabbit outfit that supplies the somewhat limited demand for pasture raised rabbit around here. But if I threw that $50,000 into poultry, we'd get more out of that. We'd feed more people. We'd incur less capex. The labor question would be less complicated. Like there's doing what we do, like there's a reason not to do it. But for homesteaders, I think it's a fantastic idea. Let's see, what else? Andrew PG1CT asks, do you guys have a plan for if you run out of chickens in Q1 of 2027? Yeah, I talked about that on my Patreon. That there's a strong possibility we're going to run out of chicken before next season starts. Love your chicken and not looking forward to having to go back to Costco and Wegmans. So we are, again, we've got some smaller farmers around us who are doing things that we know and that we trust. So basically I've sent them like an open-ended kind of thing. Like what we're really good at, like all the farming is the same, right? The pasture-based stuff, all the regenerative stuff, like the methods are same, or 99% the same. There's changes in the margins in how you like manage predators or manage heat, manage water, stuff like that. But it's largely the same. Like as long as I see somebody that's got a similar stocking density as we do, and they're serious about moving their stuff to like different areas of pasture, like you're legit to me, right? So where we really stand out is our ability to market, because we've put a lot of investment into how we get our food to people. So getting out of farmers markets, investing in door-to-door delivery, shipping, value add, and all that stuff. And I talk about this in the book. The reason a lot of new farms fail is because they invest everything in the farming part. They don't invest in beyond the farm gate. They just kind of cross the fingers, go to the farmer's market and pray. So where we're able to help a lot of farmers out, or at least a couple of farmers that we trust, which isn't many, is if you're having trouble moving your stuff because you're sick of going to farmers markets and dumping all that time and effort and sweat and blood into that, and you just want to move 500 chickens, call me. I will pay you a price that is that is advertised, and you don't have to worry about it. Now, there's a danger in that because that's how Purdue came to become Purdue. That's how Smithfield became Smithfield. That's how Tyson became Tyson. So there's only a limited extent to which we're willing to do that. We're not going to grow the business on that. But when we're in a pinch, and when other farmers are in a pinch, we'll do that. So it could be that in the winter, like some chicken is coming from our neighbor farms. Mason and Dan are still, like, I'm not in charge of this part. Mason and Dan, my two business partners for the plant and for agriculture, they are considering a small mid-season bump, but they haven't decided if they're going to do it yet. So our plan is to find a way to not run out. But if we do, we'll have lots of beef. and lamb and pork and other stuff from our partners. So if you really don't want to go to Wegmans, switch meats for a hot minute and bear with us until next spring, basically. Let's see. Next, Niqua in Canada. So for a month now, one short I get out of 4 is one of your videos. Wow. I'm very pleased with that situation. Also, hi from Montreal. Hello in Montreal. And I appreciate you for contributing $5 Canadian to our future chicken factory. See, Sunday Math asks, kind of late, but I was wondering, are you Christian? And if so, what flavor? No, my wife is, I would call her a fairly devout Episcopalian. But me, no, I am, native religion doesn't have a name, particularly the native religion from where I'm from, but that is the spiritual practice I engage in is like old Lenape spirituality, basically. I know a lot about Christianity. I know a lot about Islam. I know a lot about it because I've read the books. I've read like several several translations of the Bible. I've read 1 or 2 translations of the Quran. Like I said, I read all the time. Like I said, I'm not that smart. I just read a lot. But no, I am not personally a worshiper of the lowercase t. However, my wife is a worshiper of the lowercase t, and she takes my kids to she takes my kids to church pretty much every Sunday. Not today because she ran 8 miles and she was exhausted. And my mom is black. My mom's like an AME church lady kind of person. So like I spent my childhood going to black churches when I was a kid. So I know enough about it and talk about it to the point where people think that I'm like a Christian person, but I'm not. I just know a lot about it. All right, let's see. Grays of Blue says, damn, 69.69. I appreciate your $69.69 contribution to our future chicken factory. I live too far away for your eggs. Is there a way I can get your what is it now as an audio file for my phone notification? I think somebody sent me that. Damn it. I need to check my email. I think somebody sent that, and I will try to make that available. Because frankly, I want that to be what pops up on my text messages. Because all my text messages, I want to wonder, like, what is it now? Like, is the freezer broken? Are the fucking chickens too hot? Is somebody calling in late? Is somebody sick? Is like, there's always fucking something. I hate it when my phone rings. So yes, we will figure out a way to make that happen. Let's see. Wrights Crispy says, thank you for your advice and inspiration. You're invited to the barbacoa con a caja china. Sí, Simon. I would love that. Appreciate you. Your mom's a gamer. Again, it's a great username. I would love to hear more from your wife on your channel. Is she planning or sharing her perspective on farming here? Thanks for all you do. So my wife, my beautiful, lovely wife, who is currently napping, she was involved with the farm. So we started in 2013, and so if you look up, if you go to Google, shit, I think it's behind a paywall. But if you go to Google, there is a look up Sylvan Aqua Farms controversy, Sylvanaqua. That's what my farm used to be called before I brought in partners and we changed the name to Blackbird because I didn't want them to feel like they were just like latching on to my thing. Like I wanted to create something new together. So you look up Sylvan Aqua Farms controversy, and if you happen to have a Medium subscription, and you can like look at the article, but the shit that happened to us in 2019 and 2020 almost made me quit. And it made her quit. She was like, I like that's like that was enough. And I respect the hell out of that. So Annie farmed with me for like 6-7 years. Back when we were like at small scale and hadn't figured out how to make it work yet. She has a lot of war stories, and I will certainly bring her on for a live to talk about some of her experiences. But yeah, the stuff that happened in 2019, 2020, she was like, that's it. She did a career change. She's an artist by training. She went to VCU. She majored in painting and printmaking and fine art. She was an art gallery director before we started the farm in DC, and she wanted to kind of get back to her roots because art has always been her passion. The farming thing was always kind of my thing. We got into farming by accident anyway. I had a freaking health scare. I thought I was going to die and didn't die, and then had to figure out how to make this shit work. So it was never really, she was supporting me, and I'm now returning the favor by by paying for her master's degree and the stuff that she's doing to pursue her art career. So yes, we will talk more with Annie to hear in her own words what it's been like to do this shit. That might be what the next live is. We might go live tonight and have her. So yeah, come back for Sunday night live, and I'll have Annie run her mouth about what it's like to deal with my ass. Let's see. Next, Simply Shine. Hold. Simply Shine asks, my birds are carnivores. They found a coon better than we feed. We celebrate the 4th built and defended, but I can't possibly make heads or tail. Simply Shine, I'm so sorry. I don't know what you're talking about, but I appreciate the $50 donation towards our chicken factory. What cigar brand do I smoke? This is Padron. Padron is my favorite. Nicoser Zero donates £5 and says, my family runs a farm in Scotland. Beef, cows, and crop. I know you tease Europeans, but do you ever look at what we do over here for inspiration? I look for inspiration in social democracies. European farming, for the most part, is American farming without the steroids. Like that's, and I mean like metaphorical steroids. Like your holdings tend to be smaller. Your confinement operations are smaller and have like higher humaneness standards for the most part. Sometimes varies from country to country. European agriculture tends to be slower, and smaller. However, it shares the same skeleton as U.S. agriculture. The European Union at least has its own version of what we would call the Farm Bill. It's called the Common Agriculture Policy, or the CAP, or something like that. So like at root, European agriculture is very much the same. Like it's commodity agriculture. It's oriented towards not entirely. I mean, even U.S. agriculture isn't like completely oriented towards global trade. Like there's a large global trade element, especially with certain like staple crops that we're very good at producing / mining. European agriculture is less so, but is also like, again, it's like us, but not so much. When you talk about like fundamentally changing agricultural paradigms, which is a lot of what we're after, like we're not so much trying to emulate Europe as I'm trying to emulate maybe more native indigenous practices that would have been practiced in the East Coast. So like for us, again, this guy, the problem I have with this guy, he's very well intended. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. I think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. This guy is British. He talks a lot about indigenization, the effects of colonialism and capitalism on food and the environment and poverty and the global South and things like that. Like he opens his mouth and you hear a lot of what would be, you hear the words of indigenous people talking about how agriculture and land management, the relationship between people, land, and food and politics works. But like most well-intended white folks who open their mouths about decolonization, he wields it almost like a child that's found his dad's gun. He talks about it in almost like a fetishistic kind of way. So when I say that, I don't want to necessarily emulate Europe. If we're talking about like the progressive farm movement in Europe, which I think this guy is kind of him, and to a lesser extent before he went off the deep end, George Monbiot I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I don't know, kind of went off the deep end in terms of like how progressive agriculture works on the other side of the pond. I tend to fall more in line with James Baldwin, who says that, well intended as they may be, white folks do not provide a good example of how to live. So when I'm looking for inspiration on how to do agriculture differently, to do community-based agriculture, to do agriculture at scale, where more people are involved, and demand for agricultural products is driven by something in addition to just market demand, I tend to be looking more at my Lenape ancestors or my Six Nations neighbors or people like that. Europe may have some technical guidance on raising certain things, but in terms of like models of agriculture and models of relating to food, which is what my work more centers on, no. But that may change because who knows? I'm always reading more shit, and somebody might blow my non-existent hair back one day, but so far that has not happened. Hold on one second. I'm running my mouth so much I can't keep my cigar lit. I might also have to graduate from coffee to bourbon. We live rough. All right, let's see. I would also love to visit Scotland and Ireland. Edinburgh looks beautiful, even though it's apparently raining all the damn time. Do I need an electrician? Not at the moment. Mason is basically a master electrician, but I appreciate you. Let's see. Radfordra asks, any plans for coming to West Virginia? Coming to West Virginia, I don't know. So we're still looking at. We are going to figure out a way to ship our eggs. I don't know. Like I don't know if I want to. What's the best way to say this? The overwhelming bulk of our business right now is in door-to-door deliveries made with our own trucks out of distribution centers that we have right now in Richmond and in Springfield, Virginia. So that's Springfield's the north, Richmond is the south. I have drafted plans for what it would look like to open up distribution centers that would put us in range of Southern Pennsylvania, Delaware, parts of New Jersey, West Virginia, Virginia Tidewater, etc. The strategic issue with that is that it changes our business to a very high fixed cost model that makes us that if some kind of underlying economic condition in the country changes, which is very likely, again, I know I pick on Elon Musk a lot. And I feel like what he's done recently, wrapping up SpaceX in the NASDAQ, by changing the rules to allow him to do so, and all these AI companies that are coming behind him trying to do the same thing. I think these guys could fundamentally destroy the economy in a way that makes 2008 look like a speed bump. So with that kind of uncertainty coming from these billionaires who are treating the economy like a goddamn video game, I'm not keen on adopting a high fixed cost business model because that's hard to unwind. I'd rather double down on the routes that we do have. Like I don't necessarily want to degrow the fixed cost model that we've put in place so far, but in terms of growth, I want that growth to come from variable costs, which is that the costs go up as we sell more, and not that they're always there no matter how much we're selling, if that makes sense. So what that has to do with West Virginia is the same thing it has to do with, say, Southern Pennsylvania or the Seven Cities and the Virginia Tidewater, which is that for now, I'm not sure if we're going to offer anything besides UPS shipping of our meats and pet treats, because I'm too afraid of the broader economy right now. Like there's no adults in charge of the economy right now. It's Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and a bunch of tech bro billionaires. And I don't think any of them know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm not willing to extend our headlights out that far. Not until there's adults back in charge again. if that happens. So, West Virginia, you'll be able to get probably within the next year and a half everything but our eggs. But the extent to which we'll be able to deliver a full catalog to everybody is going to depend on the confidence I have in the broader economy. And right now I have very little. There's a book that I suggest everyone read. Again, I say this like, I have very left-leaning politics, especially for a business person. The more successful I become at business, the more financially stable I become, the more radicalizing that has been. Ironically enough, everybody tells you when you become a business owner and you become a grown-up, you're going to become more conservative. It's like, fuck you. No, I didn't. When you see just how much everything is rigged in my favor, it's highly destabilizing to society. Anyway, the book I recommend everybody read is, I forget who the author is, but the name of the book is The Man Who Broke Capitalism, and it's the story of Jack Welch. Like, read that book. I think every business person should read that book and see just how much of an influence that man has had on the way business runs now and how much it's fucking everything up. Anyway, let's see. That is my long ass answer for any plans for coming to West Virginia. Lydia the Queen asks, love the channel. Just recently found y'all. Thank you, Lydia, for your $5 contribution to our chicken factory of the future. Neophyte G asks, would you say that most people in the agricultural industry purposely take advantage of the average consumer? No. Yeah. Nah. No. How would I describe this relationship? So, cheap food is like vaccines. People who argue against them only do so because they've never had to live in a world without them. I think that applies to vaccines as much as it does to fairly cheap food. Now, there are absolutely instances where agribusiness in particular, and I make a distinction. I talk about this in the book. There's a distinction between agriculture and agribusiness, and the two, there's like a firewall between them. Agriculture, which is the farmers who are producing, food, fuel, fiber, et cetera, out of the ground, they're price takers because they're producing fungible commodities, right? They don't have a lot of control over like what prices they get in the marketplace. The only thing they really have control over is public perception of their industry to influence public policy and the public purse to underwrite the farm welfare state. So like farmers are more interested in manipulating voter sentiment than like markets or consumers, if that makes sense. Agribusiness, on the other hand, the way I would say they are systematically taking advantage of the consumer is through monopolistic business practices, price fixing, like the stuff that Cal Maine just got in trouble for egg price fixing, stuff like that. The big four meat packers colluding to fix prices and set price floors and artificially restrict supply, shit like that. Like that is happening, and it's the same thing happening everywhere else in the economy. I don't remember if it was Peter Thiel or the other guy. Like the tech bro mandate that, all right, what you want to do is you want to launch yourself head first at an industry, grow by 10x, get capitalized based on your growth rather than your revenue and earnings, and establish monopoly power, and then charge whatever the hell you want. That mindset, I think, has bled into food and agriculture. It's harder to do in food than in tech because you're fundamentally just dealing with commodities. But what I will say, I'm going to keep referring back to this book, and this was not planned. As much as I disagree with this guy about a lot of shit, what this whole book is a response to. I don't even know what he is. He's like a food analyst. He's a food policy advocate, whatever the hell you want to call him. I think he's British. His name is George Monbiot. and he wrote, it's either a book or a long essay called Regenesis, and it's basically the foundation of the book is that because of planetary boundaries, we need to move to a system where farms are basically retired as we know them. Most people move into cities, like nearly all people move into cities. And protein in particular is made through, is basically synthesized in bioreactors. That is a corporate wet dream, because that means like, and now this is like the one theme of this book that I agree about with this guy. Like, I don't agree with any of his solutions to any of this shit, but he's dead on diagnosing the problem. If you have food that is completely removed from the land and is based on producing protein in bioreactors, that opens the door for corporations to completely enclose food production. Like, they're no longer relying on farmers. They're not relying on the land. They're not relying on public opinion, the taxpayer purse, any of that shit. It is completely undemocratized. It is completely enclosed, and they can establish monopoly power over your food supply and charge whatever they want and do to you whatever the hell they want. That is unlikely to happen for, again, reasons that he correctly diagnosed, and reasons that I've argued against vertical farming, like replacing the vegetable production out of the Central Valley. It's like, you can't economically reproduce the solar, the energy that comes out of the damn sun. You can't do that. You're not going to have 300 million acres of solar panels. It's not going to fucking happen. But if it did, in theory, which corporations and agribusiness corporations would very much like it to. They would love to not be dependent on farmers at all. If they did, you would be seeing like you would be seeing food, what happened with retail with Amazon, for example, and what's happened with like tech and internet search and the auto industry and shit like that. Like, you would see that happening with food, and that would be a disaster. So yeah, big agriculture, I think you need to have a very guarded relationship with, because they are not looking out for our best interest, right? They're looking out for their shareholders. They're looking out for their executives. They're doing what every other corporation in America does. They're just doing it with fundamental natural resources. So yeah, be wary of them, but don't be paranoid, because for the most part, you can absolutely eat a very healthy and nutritious and wholesome diet, even in the United States. Somebody wrote, "Holy crap, is that Chris Newman, author of First Generation Farming, a blueprint for coordinated..." I've done this joke before. Yes, I am Chris Newman, author of First Generation Farming, a blueprint for coordinated agriculture to keep you in the land for... Yeah, that's me. Yeah, you can order my book at www. Let's see, next. Is it normal for shipping of chicken to be $14 alone? Never ordered food before and was thinking of ordering some for you, and I'm curious. So yeah, we have a flat pricing model, flat delivery fee. So our delivery fee ranges anywhere from $5 to $14, depending on where you are. So like, if you're up the street, it's $5. If you are in Baltimore, it's $14. If you're in like Charlottesville or Centerville, or $14. And everybody's lucky we haven't raised that price, because that was the price before who decided to declare war on Iran for no reason at all, and it spiked our fuel costs by freaking 40, 50, 60%. But anyway, we found ways to basically thank Pet Treats for the fact that we have not shot that price up. The price is flat, so it's going to be $14 whether you order 1 dozen eggs or whether you order 12 whole chickens, 10 dozen eggs, and 5 boxes of shit. It's going to be $14. So what the flat fee does is it encourages people to try to order more if they can, because it's relatively expensive for us to deliver just a dozen eggs. But the best way to get around our delivery fee, if you're local, is to purchase a membership, because all of our members get free delivery. So you don't pay squat. You just pay up front. You'll pay anywhere between $199 for a standard membership, $349 for a premium membership. Premium membership comes with 2 dozen free eggs every month. And as long as you're ordering more than like once a month, you're gonna like, your shipping will be effectively free as well. So yeah, there's ways around it, but you gotta help us out a little bit. Yeah, I'm saying. And is anybody, for $14, that like try to find another outfit doing it for that price. You ain't gonna. Not gonna do it. All right, let's see. Have I tried raising rabbits? I personally have never raised rabbits. I've seen it done. I've seen them slaughtered. I've seen them on the field. I've never done it myself. That was for out of the barn crochet something. I can't read the rest of your name. Let's see. Next, Erica in Bloom says, I told my husband last night that you would get a kick out of him finding a chicken at work. I would. I would very much get a kick out of that. Lazy boy, he caught it and she was our best layer. Hell yeah, good for you. Yes, I would get a kick out of that. Little Lemmy asks, you may have already answered this, but what is your record chicken yeeting distance? Well, see, if you throw the chicken with the wind, they'll go far as shit. Like, like they go, they probably go 150 feet. If you like, you don't want to throw them too high because you don't want them to come down too far. When I used to do the chicken eating videos, I would use tricks of the camera. Like usually as soon as I'd throw them, I'd bring the camera down like this so it made it look like they were just going up into the stratosphere. But usually when I throw a chicken, I'm throwing them straight ahead. You don't want to throw them way the fuck up in the air because that's mean. Because they might get tired on the way down and not flap their wings enough and just like crash face first like a sheep. So you don't want to do that. But yeah, they'll go pretty far if you throw them like with the wind and they glide. Shit. Anyway. Next, my 19-year-old son needs a job. Can he go to www? Is anybody? No, I think we're hired up now. Mason just hired 2 people. I just hired 2 people. Dan just hired 1 guy. Yeah, I think we're hired up at the moment. But if they're local, like shit always happens, and we always need extra hands. So just let me know. All right, let's see. Sorry, I'm still getting through all the super chats. And thank you everybody. Again, this is like a giant fundraiser for our chicken factory. So all the super chats and gifts and all that good shit we get, every dollar is a dollar we don't have to raise through selling stock in our company. Basically, it lets us retain control of the company and do things the right way, our way, shit like that. So thank you so much to everybody that's contributed so far. Mr. Northumberland 85 asks, do you or any farmers you know offer retirement plans for workers when making a budget or goals? Do you consider they might be working their whole lives? Do you see enough employee turnover not to worry about that? So we are trying to get to the point where we can at least offer 401k matches. Like when you talk about farmers, like a lot of farmers aren't going to do that because most farms don't operate beyond the farm gate. Like if all we were doing, like if we weren't doing the processing, the distributing, the value add, the like all the stuff we do that's off the land, there wouldn't be nearly enough money to do all that stuff. That's why I hate the estate-based farming model, because like the estate-based farming model, which is basically where you individual families operating farms on estates and as estates. The system is basically designed. What's going on with my mustache right there? The system is basically designed to where these farms are mechanized enough where everybody who's operating the farms is mostly working an off-farm full-time job, and that's where they're getting their retirement, their benefits, and all that other shit. Like the farm itself is just a giant balance sheet asset that'll either be inherited by heirs or eventually liquidated or borrowed against or whatever. So like it's never really been part of the business model for most farms. That includes small farms that are somewhat integrated, because the small farms that are doing like they're like, let's say they're raising chickens, they're selling at farmers markets, they're growing their own vegetables, like they're handling the whole supply chain. They're so small that they don't really need that many employees, and the employees they need are mostly they're either part-time or they're short-term. And they're not, kind of like you said, they're not designed to really have like I don't want to call it cradle to grave, but like start of employment to retirement kind of employment window. Our business is kind of unique in that it probably will. Again, this is part of why we want to continue to mechanize, because right now our guys, pretty much all of our guys are young, they're strong, they're fit, but one day they're not going to be. And we don't want to just have to tell them, thanks for sacrificing your body for my goddamn business. Now, fuck off. We want them to be able to like grow with the business, continue to progress, and eventually maybe retire comfortably from our business, instead of having to just do that good luck fucker thing when they walk out the door, when they can't handle the job anymore. So the short answer is yes, we do want to make enough money and have enough margin and have enough revenue and all that good shit to be able to at least do 401k matches. But I would love to try to find a way to bring back like a traditional pension, because that's what 401ks are right now, right? Like corporations basically said, now we're going to devote our money from from pensions to like stock buybacks and raise our stock price again. Jack Welch, dude, godfather of all that goddamn shit. Um, I believe that as we become larger and enjoy more productivity per employee, that can be returned back to employees in the forms of pensions or 401k matches or whatever. And they still have livable wages, are able to make savings, are able to have health insurance and all that other shit. And the owners are still able to be rich, just maybe not fuck you rich. And we will see in about 10 to 15 years if I'm right or if I'm broke. So anyway, let's see. Boris the Geek, what is it now? Thank you so much. Guppy Girls and Eggs, thank you for the $5 contribution to our chicken factory of the future. Boris the Geek, did I copyright my mustache? No, I did not. I don't think you can copyright facial hair. Thank you for asking. I can't pronounce your name. Gakdre 4262 says, thank you for dispelling much of this abject food fear that we are bombarded with. I'll go easy with my first ask. Hold forth on Costco loss leader chickens. Awesome, so, or of poor quality for the ridiculous giveaway price. Costco rotisserie chickens and their hot dog soda combination may be one of the best instances of a loss leader used to generate profit, maybe anywhere. I mean, the chicken, like, I'm not going to say they're necessarily high quality chickens. Like Costco recently, so they would have control over their, like, they never wanted to have to like raise the price of that chicken. They wanted to maintain some control over cost. So they set up their own goddamn chicken processing facility, like a big one, like a Tyson sized one. And contracted with their own chicken farmers to grow their own chickens. Now those chickens are grown in the same way that Tyson and everybody else grows their shit. So like it's standard chicken. There's nothing special about it except for the price. As a business model, it's a brilliant idea. Like it gets you into the store. If anybody's ever been to a Costco, you have to go through damn near the whole store. You have to like pass all their high margin items to get to the rotisserie chickens. And hardly anybody goes into that building, to get a rotisserie chicken and comes out with less than $100 worth of shit. Like it's kind of brilliant. And we almost treat our eggs that way a little bit, especially with our premium memberships. Like on a lot of our premium memberships, we lose money on the membership itself. So the way our premium membership works is, if you become a premium member, you pay $349. That basically gets you 24 dozen eggs over the course of the year. It gets you 15% off all your orders, and it gets you free delivery on all your orders. Anybody that's ordering like once a month, we're technically losing money on that. But like just on the membership itself, like when it comes to the free eggs and the shipping, like we'll lose money, quote unquote, on that part. But most people order more stuff. Like very few people order the premium membership and just get eggs. They usually wind up tacking on more stuff. And the other thing it does for us is that when you have a premium member that orders, let's say like in Centerville, Virginia or something like that, or in Alexandria, or whatever, it forces a truck to be in that area. So when other people are placing standard orders where they're paying full freight, it lowers the incremental cost of making each one of those deliveries. So like you make it up on the back end. And Costco, I think, has applied that principle, I think, better than probably any business ever has, in terms of a loss leader. And yeah, the price is ridiculous, but they make money on it. They make so much money on it. They invested millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into setting up their own poultry supply chain. Like that's how good it is for their business. Costco generally has very good business practices that I tend to admire as much as I can for a publicly traded corporation. So I ain't mad at them. and I'm always all for affordable protein. So. Let's see. Unknown Sierra 6297 contributes 20 British pounds sterling to our chicken factory of the future. I appreciate you. First off, might I say you're one of the funniest yet educational people I've met when it comes to farming, such as the chickens are idiots short. Yes, they are idiots. Secondly, I hope you know during this, one of your chickens is likely running off. Not my damn chickens. Shit. They in a giant greenhouse longhouse type thing. They ain't going nowhere. Sit your ass down. Actually, but our hens are in a free range wood system, so yeah, they probably done fucked off. All right, you right. You right. Unknown Sierra. You right. That's okay. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Next. Tiny Mary, I can't see below the flow state. Thank you for my flow state gift, Brianna. Let's see. I do have your book, but can you recommend any additional good business books for someone who is going from gardeners or this is a really good question. Most of my expertise around how to run a business, like how to administer a business, has come from like getting the book, like the textbook list for Harvard's MBA tracks, and just reading the textbooks. Very expensive. It's like a couple $100 a book, even used. But it's worth it to have that. Yeah, most of my business, like I don't read a lot of like how to do market gardening. I mean, I think you should. Like they're a decent foundation, even though you have to be careful about like who's writing these books and like have they actually done the shit that they're telling you to do. Like Joel Salatin is like a big red flag with that kind of thing. Like he doesn't do himself any of the shit that he says for you to do. So it's like the only, it's not like a moral problem. It's just like how do you know how do you know what the fuck you're talking about? Because you've never done it, you've never run experiment. Like you don't know what you're talking about. You're just spouting off ideals about how a business should be run, even though you don't know it'll work, and you're telling people who have less money and less assets than you to do it. It's kind of fucked up. So no, like in terms of running a business, like just hard-nosed books about accounting, business administration, how to do marketing, how to do sales, like books on sales. Everybody should read books on sales. Everybody's always reading books about how to like optimize this crop or optimize that crop. I'm like, no, you all should be reading books on goddamn sales. Because you can grow whatever yield or whatever the hell you want. If you can't sell it, it doesn't matter. It's going to be fertilizer. It's going to be compost, and you can't sell that either. So, yeah, like just find core syllabuses for business administration courses, especially MBAs. Like I went kind of the MBA route because in college, I kind of had like two minors. I minored in my major's in computer science, but I had like lots of sidetracks. I graduated like 1 billion credits, but I focused on electrical engineering, business administration, and Asian art history. Oddly enough, so I had kind of like the basics enough to start like reading the master's level type stuff, and you need that. Like you need to know how accounting works. You need to know how sales works. You need to know how to like deal with the tax environment. Like all that stuff. That stuff sinks way more farms than like not knowing how to like grow stuff the right way. If there was is there a single book I could recommend? Damn it. None of that library is like handy. It's all downstairs. I'll try to put together a book list. Somebody try to remind me. But I don't remember names of any of them offhand. I don't read them a lot because I do the stuff every day, so I don't have to reference them a lot. It's the pristine dungarees and physiques that get me, playing like they ain't CEOs. Who are we talking about? Oh, we talking about like probably talking about the farm grift, how to farm, like how to be a market farmer. But yeah. There's a lot of clean clothes that you see, like legit farmers, ones that are actually doing the work. Like they're filthy. Like the only reason I'm so clean as I am is because I'm never in the fields anymore. I got Irish indentured servants that do that now. Lupe Fiasco, big fan, soaking up the knowledge, peace and power. Thank you, Lupe Fiasco. Aloha from Hawaii. I want to go to Hawaii real bad. Let's see what. Shit. I can't scroll. I could scroll. Okay, there we go. Boogie44 asks, what's the struggles with dairy farming? We're debating between getting into poultry or dairy in the future. Pros and cons of both. Dear God. For me, poultry versus dairy is a no-brainer. That is poultry 1,000% of the way. Milk is more capital intensive. It's more highly regulated. There is less of a way to distinguish on price. Like if you're looking at doing it at a small scale, like it is very easy for me to like demonstrate to people why my chicken raised on pasture, raised with the feeds we do, with the methods we do, slaughtered the way we slaughter it, is much better than what you're going to get from Aldi or Kroger. Like I can show you the quality of the fat. I can like show you how like the skin feels, how it cooks up, how it fries up, how much water is in ours versus theirs, how old the chicken is, how fresh it is, like all that shit. Like there's a lot of distinguishing factors with chicken that are very easy to see and that you feel and experience when you cook the chicken, when you eat the chicken. With milk, milk is very, very difficult to distinguish from its commodity competition. So if you're doing it at a small scale, you're going to have to charge a much higher price than what's at the commodity in order to make your living, and you're going to have a much harder time justifying why. That on top of the fact that dairy as a lifestyle, and this is one of the things I talk, like the first thing I talk about in my book when people talk about getting into farming, before you start talking about what kind of farming you want to do, one of the first conversations you want to have, especially if you, and this person Boogie said, we are debating getting into poultry. So I'm assuming that's you and probably a spouse or a romantic partner or a sibling or somebody you have a very close relationship with. Y'all need to have a very frank discussion about what you want your life to look like. Like, what do you want your weekends to look like? Do you want to be able to take vacation? For how long? Where? Do you want to have kids? Do you have kids? Where do you want those kids to go to school? Because what ends up happening is farming winds up superimposing itself on your entire goddamn life. It is extremely disruptive. Dairy is never ending. The cows always have to be milked twice a day, every day, all year. They have to be fed every day. Grass-fed dairy, where the cows do all the work, is extremely difficult, nigh impossible. You have to keep them pregnant. You have to dairy is so much. Dairy will take over your goddamn life. Poultry is seasonal. Like you can make a business plan where you produce, and like in our area, I don't know where you're located, but in our area, like I can make a business plan that says we're going to produce enough chicken from February to November to like last us the year. And if it all sells at the price point that we set, we make the money we need for the entire year and we're fine. And during the winter, ain't no damn chickens on the farms unless you're having egg layers. And that's a decision we made. You can kind of have your life back. Chickens you can kind of walk away from. They're not going to fuck off on you. You don't have to milk the chickens. You don't have to, there's none of that. So you want to make sure you have a very frank, non-aspirational, because like everybody's going to be like, I don't need to take vacations. Weekends are fine. Like the farm is its own vacation. You're going to be out in the land, blah, blah, blah. That shit wears off after about 8 months. You get to your first August and you're like, fuck this. I don't care how much you love it. Like, I love farm. I love agriculture. I love this business. I love everything about it. But by August, like in about 5 weeks right now, all of our farmers are going to be like, I'm fucking over it. I love it, but I'm over it. I'm ready for it to level off. I'm ready to have a weekend. I'm ready to sleep 10 hours. I'm ready to wake up after 4 a.m. Like that is going to happen. So make sure you're realistic with yourself about that. And I pretty much guarantee you that poultry will be the better choice between the two for so many reasons. Let's see. The Farlander contributed $20 to our Chicken Factory of the Future Fund to ask, what do you use to style your mustache? Thanks for all the informative content and the laughs. Usually nothing. this might be kind of gross, but native people, we do this. There's going to be natural oils right here in the corner of your nose, and I often use that oil to twist it up like, yeah. That's usually what I do. I got that habit from when I was a when I was a fancy dancer, and what we usually do is use the grease from your forehead, the grease from your nose to straighten out your feathers. That's on like our dance regalia and stuff like that. Also works for your mustache. We also have a jojoba oil based beard oil that my homeboy makes, and that might be for sale on the website. I can't remember. That I'll use to keep it like well conditioned and stuff like that. But no, I don't actually spend a lot of time on this. I use a toothbrush to brush it every now and then, and that's about it. Okay, let's see what we got. King Worm 321 says, I agree about the jobs lead to lifelong injuries. What kind of automation systems are you going to be using? Any particular ideas? The big ones are the ones that eliminate repetitive injury. So it's going to be a lot of machines for the loading and shackling of the chickens when they're going through the kill process. Like the people having to do this, and this, like, and having to lift crates and shit like that. Automating those parts is very important. Any kind of knifing movements where you're twisting your wrist, there's machines that can take care of that part. Most of our butchery will always be done by hand just because the quality is higher. What's going to be key is getting out of those primary cuts where you're splitting the chicken, like taking the wings off, stuff like that. A lot of that can be automated, and just reducing it to like simple motions where there's not a lot of twisting, not a lot of the stuff that gets into your hands, gives you carpal tunnel, stuff like that, has you like doing stuff like this. Mason's job is to look into that machinery, which he is. So I'm not the expert on that right now. One of my business partners is. But yeah, that's what we're after. But hey, hello there. Hi. Contributes $19.99 to the Chicken Factory of Tomorrow fund to ask, silly question, your thoughts on the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift marriage. Segue your thoughts on how marriage can support the fifth and how you and your spouse manage work-life balance and stay focused on goals. I spend as little time as possible thinking about billionaires in general and their goddamn weddings. Taylor Swift's a billionaire. Travis Kelce's a football Hall of Fame millionaire. Like, it's, I don't have any thoughts. Rich people going to rich, like whatever. There's nothing about the economics of their lives that I could apply to regular people. Even people who, like, me, I would consider myself fairly well to do at this point, but like I can't. There's nothing they're doing that I can relate to my life. Taylor Swift has infinite resources, so like, I don't know what to do with that. But on how marriage can support success, I mean, so farming and marriage tend to, because of the whole like estate farming model thing, like a lot of people who get into farming want to do it as a family enterprise. They want to do it as they want to do it with their romantic partner or spouse or whatever. They want to get their kids involved, like all that shit. And it sounds more romantic than it is. My wife was very supportive when we got into this. My whole family was very supportive. Even if they thought I'd lost my goddamn mind. Going from a lucrative 6-figure salary damn near 20 years ago to get in a farm, it's like, you fucking crazy. But they were like, all right, and supported me all the way. My wife's family gave me access to things that I would have had a hard time getting access to without them. We started on my wife's parents' land, rather. They had 26 acres outside of Charlottesville. I don't know where we would have started without that. I'm sure I could have figured, I'm an adaptable guy. I would have figured something out, but that was instrumental in like getting our first livestock on and knowing like what can we handle, what can we not handle. And it was instrumental in getting us our next lease when we outgrew that property. Again, where we went next was a friend of my in-laws. So that network of knowing people, that's what I say, like this whole thing that where people are selling this idea that, yeah, you can just do what I did. Here's a blueprint. It's like, my blueprint is who the fuck I knew. Which is why, food systems of the future need to focus more on creating opportunities for people who don't have shit, not doing this MLM thing where it's like, you pay me $700 for my course and you can be just like me. So being married to the right person was very critical to getting us where we are now. However, farming will stress the shit out of a marriage, just because of the constancy of it. There's no separation of work and life. A conflict on the farm will translate into a conflict at home. It never goes away. You can't set it aside. There will be a lot of conflicts early on, especially if you're doing the small farming thing, because you're going to be overworked, you're going to be underpaid, you're going to be exhausted. And a lot of times you're going to be broke. Like everything that strains a marriage, like that's all of it. Yeah, like financial strain, time strain, and constant proximity are going to stretch your marriage like a fucking snare drum. The biggest thing I was able to do to kind of support my wife back after years of being supported myself was to let her gracefully exit and do what she wanted to do, which was to get back into art and get back into that field. And she wanted to be a teacher. So I completely changed our business model to support her. Changed it from like an estate-based family type model to one that's structured more like a law firm or more like a corporation, where I brought on business partners and raised capital and, turned it into a financial engine where I could support her doing what she wanted to do. So it's, that's how my story's gone. I don't know if that's a satisfactory answer, but it's my answer. But yeah, by and large, we had a lot of support. We had, as strained as we were financially, we were never going to have to worry about like being broke or destitute or anything like that. Like, we both come from well-to-do families. So that's another thing that you can't necessarily take away from like a Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift kind of situation, or even like a me and Annie kind of situation. Like, we were, like, the reason we're able to do this is because of how goddamn privileged we were to start. We had the luxury of failure, where failure wouldn't fuck us over forever. For people who don't have that, getting in a business together can be a nightmare. It can be great, but more likely it's going to be a nightmare. And you got to be real careful about that. Somebody's asking, Anna Ree asks, what kind of tree is that behind you with the fruit? That is a big ass fig tree. And that thing is busting with fruit. Oh, turn you around. Yeah, look at it. I mean, it extends all the way around the damn house. That's a rain barrel right there. But yeah, that's what that is. The big ass fig tree. We're gonna have figs wrapped with bacon later. All right, let's see. I don't know what's going on with my damn scrolling jank right here. Let's see. Somebody asked, trying to place my order, but whole chicken is, I can't see. Whole chicken is not listed on the site. What's up? Whole chickens are sold out because we can't freaking hold on to them. I had to change them back to draft status. So basically, like, this is the reason we're not shipping to Philly and New York and Florida and all that shit, right? It's because, like, we just slaughtered 2,200 chickens. We kept maybe 700 of them as whole chickens to be sold as whole chickens, and they're gone. Between our standing wholesale orders to a couple of restaurants that we sell to, and our subscribers, like our door-to-door subscribers, our members and stuff like that, like, we don't have any more to sell additional, which sucks. But if we were selling to like other states, like we would have been out. Like, we'd always be out. You'd never be able to get them. So yeah, that's why they're off the site. I'm so sorry. Every other cut is still available, I think. But yeah, right now whole birds are probably out for the next at least 2 weeks. Let's see. Yes, that is a fig tree behind me. Kenishiru 47. Oops, hold on, dude. What is going on? Is my battery dying? Nope. The scroll is just acting so damn weird. Hold on. Scrolling up. Hold on. Jesus. Hold on. Hold on. Christ. Hold on. There are a lot of super chats. Holy shit. Holy shit. We're going to be able to buy this factory tomorrow. Hold. Dude. Okay, there it is. Okay. Topa Tomato 5842 asks, can an untrained yeeter accidentally injure a chicken while yeeting, or are they sturdy enough to manhandle without care? If you try to yeet a meat chicken, you are going to injure that motherfucker. Pretty much every other chicken, most people are not strong enough to throw them high enough or far enough to injure them, unless you like throw them into a wall like an asshole or something. So yeah, the only reason I do that in public is it's pretty difficult to to injure a like an egg-laying chicken doing something like that. Meat chickens, however, this is why I always say, like, do not throw your goddamn meat chickens, because what the fuck, they're like bowling balls. They're just gonna crash to the ground like a sack of rocks. Let's see. What books do you, Cleo332 asks, what books do you recommend for someone who's in the middle of the aisle but raised conservative? I want to understand a realistic fiscal future. Middle of the aisle, I would recommend Robert Kuttner's book, Can Democracy Survive Global Capitalism? I think that's less of a shock than books like The Wayfinders or People's History of the United States or An Indigenous People's History of the United States or James Baldwin's books or whatever. If you're trying to tread gently into I don't know, into I guess a politics that's similar to mine. Yeah, that one. And what's the guy's name? The guy's name is, I think it's Hendrik Smith or something like that. Who Stole the American Dream? That's one. The one that I mentioned earlier, The Man Who Broke Capitalism, the book about Jack Welch. I forget the author's name. Yeah, I think those are good places to start. Have you thought about how you would handle your business if there is a market crash? If so, what kind of adjustments do you think you would make? It's like when a market crashes, it's like all bets are off, right? The best you can do is just try to fucking survive. What I would do would depend on what effect a market crash had on the food supply. And that can depend on what crashes. Like, does the stock market crash? Do commodities markets crash? Like, what's doing the crashing? Which one crashes first? And what effect does it have on global supply chains and local food webs? That is like a battle plan you can't really draw, because it will not survive contact with the enemy. So yeah, if the economy crashes, that's something we're going to have to play by ear. That's going to be jazz. That's not going to be set piece music, if you know what I mean. KH Cloud asks, have you watched Clarkson's Farm? Everybody's mentioned this. I've never seen it. I have no idea what it is. So how do you feel about his former farm education? Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm tempted to watch it and like offer my thoughts, but like, I don't know. Like, it feels like a dickish thing to do. Like, just like review somebody's work. Like, I don't know. I mean, I do it with Joel, but I think Joel is like actively fucking people over. So I don't know. Like, I'll take a look at it. And I'll be honest, like if I find it to be benign, I'm probably not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to criticize people that are just trying to do their thing and they're not hurting anybody, or offer critiques or opinions on that shit. But I don't know, if I see it and I think they're like bullshitting people or whatever, like I might say something. But I don't want to be that guy that just like appears out of the ether and just starts like fucking with people's work. Like, I don't know. I get bad vibes from that. Let's see. From one cigar to another, cheers. Keep up the good work. Thank you. What is my favorite sushi? I'm a basic bitch. I like a crunchy, spicy salmon rolls. What I like. Let's see. How do you, Larry David CS asks, how do you use analytics and stuff to keep an eye on your business, track budgets, and make decisions? Curious how farmers approach it. So I'm going to do it differently than the way most farmers do it. Like farmers are mostly like the average farmer is going to be selling in the commodities market. So they're always looking at the futures markets. They've got a weather eye on the Chicago Board of Trade, shit like that. We don't trade in those markets. So I'm very much plugged into basically Shopify's analytics. Like what are people ordering? At what rate are they ordering it? Are they ordering more of it? Or are they ordering less of it? What's our retention table? What kind of margins are we making on different products? How fast are they moving? What's slowing down? Why? What regions are selling? All that stuff is fortunately wrapped up in Shopify, and we have to do very little customization to get it to work. But yeah, I mean that's mostly what I'm looking at. I'm looking at like how what is our volume of every product, what's selling well, what's not selling well, if anything is falling off, why, and trying to keep as much as we can everything in stock, which is a challenge right now, just given how much we've blown up on social media. We weren't ready for this. I talked about that directly in our Patreon. We were not expecting to wind up with 1 million YouTube subscribers and Jesus fuck, there's 1,100 people watching this goddamn live. Like what the fuck? Like we weren't ready for that. And agriculture is not like something you can scale up like real quick without cutting corners and lying. So we've chosen not to do that, and so we're frustrating a lot of people. But yeah, we don't do anything that's like super advanced. Shopify's basic analytics are enough to keep us pretty busy. Let's see. Cree Cursing asks, as someone sitting on a screen porch in Maryland, how the heck are you sitting on a screen porch in Virginia? This sticky. I mean, it's not as sticky as it was yesterday. Yesterday was crazy. Today is relatively mild. I don't know what the temperature is right now, but you hear all the crickets and shit. I got a fan. I got a fan. It keeps me nice and cool. Yep. And I don't know. I'm just from the South. I mean, I'm descended from tropical people. I enjoy the heat to an extent. I'm fine with heat as long as I'm not directly in the sun. I learned that from when I used to run track poorly in high school. Let's see. PJ McMurray, that's a mosquito. Look at you. Oh, you bloody as hell. That's nasty. Do hens do dominance games like mounting, like canines and hyenas? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the hens les out all the time. They're constantly humping the shit out of each other. Yeah, pecking order is real. They stay humping. It is very, very LGBTQ friendly place. Is the hen farm? You see the hens hump each other regardless of gender, and occasionally a hen will crow like a rooster. So whenever you hear some bigot say that there ain't no queerness in nature, bitch, you ain't never seen nature, have you? Because nature is queer as fuck. Anyway, let's see what's next. John Nargodian, since 20 pounds sterling. Oh yeah, people are talking about an AI bubble, and I'm panicking because I'm seeing a tech hype bubble. It's Saturn is just as fragile, and it's going to be much worse. Yeah, I mean AI. I mean, even the people in AI are calling it a bubble. Sam Altman called it a bubble. I think Elon even hinted that it was a bubble. Like everybody knows. Everybody knows. There's a reason. There's a reason when Elon freaking wrapped up his goddamn XAI thing in SpaceX and then forced the indexes to buy that stock after what, like 7 trading days or some shit. That they also put in a provision that insiders could sell out their stakes in way less than I think the previous. Like it used to be that if you're going to have your stock listed on the major indices like the NASDAQ, people who were insiders had to hold on to their stock for, I think it was at least 30 days, or it might have been like 90 days, it might have even been 6 months. I can't remember what the hell, but like you had to hold on to your shit because like the whole point was like you ain't going to rug pull the goddamn index. And Elon got them to change that rule, dude, so they could cash out right now. It's like, what'd you do that for? If you have so much goddamn confidence in your friggin' $1 trillion market, like Like who's full of shit here? So yeah, dude. Like I said, I got the fuck out of U.S. stocks the second I saw that stuff happening, and I think everyone else should too. If you can sell a way to if you can figure out a way to sell into northern New Jersey towards New York City, well, I can't. I wish I could pledge a lot of customers, but heck, you'd have some. Yes, I know. I appreciate you. We are going to grow to be able to service New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, Pennsylvania as quickly as we are able to responsibly. The key word is responsibly. So we have to scale our agriculture in a way where it continues to replicate how it looks now. We're not going to go down the Vital Farms route where suddenly all of our chickens are like in a giant barn and like they have access to pasture. Like we're not playing that shit. But that means we're going to have to grow slower. It's why all these contributions that y'all are making through these super chats are really important, because every single dollar here is a dollar I don't have to raise from investors, and every dollar I'm not taking from an investor is a dollar that I don't have to justify. Like, here's why we're going slow. Fuck them. So appreciate all of y'all for all of that. Let's see. Axe Lesbian says, trans lesbian, haven't returned to the East Coast since Trump won. Lucky. How are things looking back in Virginia? Tell the water in the trees I said hello. Well, let me tell you what just happened. We had an election for a governor named something Spanberger. Yep. And the first thing she did was start vetoing bills that protected workers' rights and their ability to unionize and shit like that. I knew it. Corporate Democrat, which is basically a Mitt Romney Republican at this point. Like, it's, whatever. Virginia's fine. It's here. You hear that? The birds are still singing in the trees. The breezes still blow. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And 400 Nazis marched on the Capitol yesterday for July 4th. So, it is what it is. It's fine. The thing about being black is this is not our first apocalypse. So, it'll be shitty and it'll be fine again. It'll be shitty and it'll be fine again. And life goes on. Let's see. Cool Hand Mountain Man asks, how do you feel about bubble wrap that doesn't pop? I feel like it is an abomination to nature. That's how I feel. Thank you for your $2 contribution to our Chicken Factory of the Future Fund. Let's see. Rixby Bixby asks, did you struggle with the biracial not enough for either half thing? If so, any advice for people like me, mixed transracial adoptee? Ooh, yeah, that's hard for adoptees. So here's the thing, right? My experience is not going to be the experience of everybody else. So this might be different for other people. My being biracial, and let's talk about what that means in my case. I'm not white. Everybody thinks you're half white. No, bitch. My mom's black. My dad's Choctaw Piscataway Indian. And some Indians run light skinned, and that's here I am. I get very little shit. I've never gotten much shit about it in person. Like, it's always on the goddamn internet. The internet promotes a certain antisocial behavior that you get when people can't reach out and touch you. People don't say shit to my face. I'm a big guy. Somebody's not going to come up to me and be like, I'm not black enough when I can reach out and touch them. Because I touch hard. So, I've got the benefit of being a big man. Life is always easier for big men, except when we want to buy pants. Everything else is easier. I also had the benefit of being raised like directly in both cultures, right? Like, so I was raised to learn to speak our native language. I went to powwows. I danced in powwows. I went through ceremony. I went through naming. Like all that, like I was an active participant in that part of my culture, but I also grew up in Southeast DC in the 80s and 90s. So like I went to a pretty much all black elementary school where we sang Lift Every Voice and Sing before assemblies. And like, we learned probably more, we learned mostly black history. We didn't like, we didn't get the like whitewashed version of American history that's taught like in my kids' schools right now, which is, a standard school. So like my kids come home, I have to deprogram their asses. which is what my dad did with me when I left DC public schools and went to a white private school in Alexandria. So I was lucky. I had parents who were very intentional about making sure that I was in both of my communities. So like nobody could really tell me like you're not really blah 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 and be taken seriously. You know, how to deal with that if you don't have that. This is what I tell a lot of people. Like there's I did a TikTok a while ago about why so many light skinned people are kind of fucked up. And can be kind of jumpy and really angsty about their culture and their heritage and who they are and their identity and all that shit. And a lot of it can be traced back to white mamas. This is kind of like one of my criteria for like, you know, kind of one of the tests that I put Annie through was when we were dating, I would constantly put her in like all black environments to see like, are you cool or is this like a fetish? Because for somebody who embraces black culture, then that's somebody who's not going to teach their kids to be like colorblind. It's like, you're not black, you're just a person. And then that child grows up and society very much treats them like they're black and they don't know how to handle it. They feel alienated from their own culture and their own history. They don't know who the fuck they are, and it messes with their heads. So I don't know if that necessarily helps you that much, but for anybody who might be, for example, a white woman and is, you know, has biracial children,